What's going on, Lego Maniacs? It's Ty, the Lego guy here, and welcome to another Lego Star Wars comparison. Today we're taking a look at the 3 Republic fighter tanks made by Lego. The first being the 7679. It had 592 pieces, 2 minifigures retailed for 50 USD, and it came out in 2008. The 75182, which had 305 pieces, 4 minifigures retailed for 25 USD, and it came out in 2018. And last but not least, we have the brand new 75342, which has 262 pieces, 6 minifigures retails for 40 USD, and it came out in 2022. This is going to be an interesting one. It's probably one of the comparisons I wanted to do the most once I found out they were making a 22 version. But we're going to break down these tanks' positives and negatives and see where they stand. And also, giving reference to the minifigures. If you're interested in individual reviews where we really break down the minifigures, I have those individual reviews on the channel, which I will link in the description. But enough talk, let's get right into it. And to begin, we'll start off with the 2008. And here's the 2 minifigures that are included. You get an ARC Trooper along with a standard clone trooper. Give you guys a 360 view. As you can see, it's a really good looking Republic fighter tank. It's huge too. I mean, it's nearly 600 pieces. It has a number of features to it. It's just a behemoth. It's what you want a tank to be. When this thing enters the battlefield, the little Lego men go running. It's a really nice looking overall vehicle. And I don't think that they really could improve on the look overall, but let's now break it down area by area. And the first area of the tank that we'll center in on is going to be just this center right here. You can actually open it up, and what's inside is just a number of translucent green pieces. It's kind of like the engine, which is kind of interesting. It's the only tank that has that feature. On the side of the tank, there's also these little hidden blaster compartments. And this doesn't have any spring-loaded shooters or any stud shooters, but back in the day they had flick fire missiles. You can move this up, and there's those flick fire missiles. And they work decently. I'm not a big fan of any of these shooters. My favorite are those big rubber shooters Lego used to include in sets, but still, good playability, especially if you're a kid. On the other side, it's the same thing. You have another area where they can store those spring-loaded shooters, and another hidden blaster compartment with no blaster. Then getting into the center of the tank, there is this gunner on the very top. And what's awesome about this, okay, before we get into that, I'm going to show off this one feature. If you open up the hatch and you pull this down, it's kind of anticlimactic, but it does pop the clone up. So now he can man the gunner. How that kind of works is there's some elastics in there, as you guys can see. And then you can actually just remove the top completely to reveal the interior of the tank. There's a couple computers, probably the largest, or it is definitely the largest interior out of any of the tanks, which makes sense since this is the largest of the 3. Just showing off the underbelly. It has some wheels, so if you want to drive this thing around, you can very easily. Pretty decent tank. Definitely the largest and most detailed out of the 3. Let's now take a look at the 2018. And now we've come to the 2018. The minifigures that are included is Ayla Secura, a Phase 2 clone gunner, along with 2 battle droids. Give you guys a 360 view of the tank. As you can see, this is a huge exaggeration from the 2008. The 2008 is probably 2 or 3 times bigger than this, which the piece count would at least suggest it is twice as big, but I believe it is bigger. But still, it's a very compact overall little tank. Let's now break it down area by area. And the first thing that we'll show off is this does have stud shooters on either side. Can raise and lower these guns, and you can shoot them off very easily, just like so. don't really like the fact that these stud shooters are so predominant, but if you really don't like it, you can just remove it like so. Maybe put a 1x4 plate over that and you wouldn't know the difference. But if you want to keep the stud shooters on, you can. Getting into the cockpit, you can very easily access it just like so to reveal the clone. And just removing him, I'll show off the interior just a little bit more. It's very lackluster. The smallest interior out of all three tanks. And then on the back right here, they have an area where you can store some more studs for the stud shooters. There isn't a whole lot going on with this tank. It's just a very compact little fighter tank, and it's great to put in mocks. This also has wheels on the bottom, so if you want to drive it around, you can. Besides that, there isn't really too many features. I just really like the size of this because you can very easily fit it in any of your creations. Unlike the 2008, which is just huge. The 2022 is probably a very fair size. Definitely larger than this one, but you can still quite easily fit it in mocks. Let's now take a look at the 2022. And now we've come to the 2022. The minifigures that are included, first off being Mace Windu, done in the Clone Wars style, a 187th clone commander, and 2 standard clones from the 187th Legion, along with 2 battle droids. Give you guys a 360 view of the tank. I have to say that if you ever played the original Battlefront 2, this tank is probably the perfect size. However, it does have some imperfections. The minifigures though are excellent. I don't think they really could have included any better minifigures. But overall, still a pretty good looking tank. Let's now break it down area by area. And the first area of the tank that we'll center in on is going to be the main guns. So you can rotate them if you wish. They have spring-loaded shooters. Shoot them off like so. And then getting into the interior, if you want to access it, you can. Now this is one of my main complaints with this. Notice that gap. I don't like that. I wish that it was just completely covered. It's not the end of the world, but it just would have been nice if it was completely enclosed. If you want to access, again, that interior, just raise it like so to reveal the clone trooper. And then getting to the back of the tank, much like the 2008, you can access the back by just lowering this piece to reveal a very, it's kind of odd. You can't really fit anyone in there, but I do get the concept. It's like the clones can access the tank through this door. This is another area that I don't really like about this tank. Now, notice you have the clone and his head is sticking out, and that looks good. But if you want to close it up, you can't. The reason why is because they have this piece right here. Looking back at this, I wish they almost would have put just a piece right here, or maybe right here. That way you can completely encase the clone. I think that would have been far superior. Yes, the clone couldn't access this area through this door, but again, it would just make it a lot more realistic and more similar to the 2008, which I do believe is superior. This tank, however, is the perfect size for the Republic fighter tank. I don't really think they could get it more proportionate to the minifigure. On the bottom, it does have wheels just like the other two, and you can very easily just drive it around like so if you want to play with it. Definitely a decent tank overall. It just definitely has its flaws. And here we have all three of the fighter tanks side by side, 2008, 2018, and the 2022. The size differences are crazy. Kind of funny. I viewed this as the dad tank, the mom tank, and the baby tank. And now they're in order from largest to smallest. So the size differences is just crazy. Move them to their sides just to kind of show that off a little bit more. As you can see, the main tank, or the 2008 tank, not the main tank, is just far, far larger than even the 2022. And the 2018, it's not bad. It's just puny in comparison. In fact, let's just show off the largest tank and the smallest tank. Again, this one's basically 3 times the size of this one. And then showing off the 2018. It's about twice or almost twice as big as the 2022 one. Overall though, they definitely all have their positives and negatives, but as far as the tank goes, I have to give it to the 2008. It's just the best looking out of the three, but it is the largest. I think that the perfect size is the 2022, and if you're making a mock, the 2018 is definitely the easiest to fit. Let's now get into the end of the comparison and get my final thoughts. Well guys, that was my review. Do hope you enjoyed it. Personally, this comparison is kind of a very mixed bag of which one's the best, which one's the worst. I have to say, as far as the tanks look, obviously you can't beat the 2008. This is just a gorgeous looking tank. However, it is a bit big. If you want a really good, small, compact Republic fighter tank, probably the 2018. It's probably the best, but I do feel it is a little undersized. This is great to put in mocks, but it is a bit small. I feel that the perfect size for the Republic fighter tank is probably the 2022. However, I think it is probably the least, it's probably the least good tank out of the three, although it's still pretty decent. As far as minifigures, it's completely flipped. I believe that the 2022 has the best array of minifigures, that awesome Mace Windu. You get 3 great clones along with 2 battle droids. In second place, it's going to be the 2018. You get Ayla Secura, Clone Gunner, along with 2 battle droids. And the least good set as far as minifigures go is probably going to be the 2008. So it's kind of funny. The best tank is the 2008, but for minifigures, the best tank is the 2022. And this one basically just falls right in the middle as far as decent tank, decent array of minifigures. But as always guys, let me know what your personal opinion is. Maybe which tank is your favorite out of the 3, and which selection of minifigures is your favorite that are included in each of these sets. But that pretty well does the comparison. But if you liked it, leave it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, definitely consider subscribing. And click that bell so you're notified for any future LEGO Star Wars reviews, comparisons. We do one of them every single Tuesday, and it's one of my favorite series. LEGO Star Wars, or Star Wars just in general, is one of my all-time favorite series of movies. But that's all I got for you again. But thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.